So guys, you need to take your time and listen to what Sowore has got to say about Rivers State and all the shenanigans that Wike is displaying recently. He's also saying that it is only protests that will be able to stop all what we've seen going on in Rivers State, because guess what? There are rumors that the federal government might extend that emergency rule that you see playing out in Rivers State, and that will mean that Fubara is going to be totally removed. Also, Nigeria has reacted to Fubara's Easter message, encouraging Nigerians to support Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and people are wondering what is happening. This is coming at a time when people have started speculating that there are plans for Fubara to move to APC. So guys, in case you don't know, there is this rumor out there that Tinubu is planning to take over states like Delta State, Akwa Ibom State, Rivers State, and I think there's another state they mentioned, the fourth state, Enugu State. That these four governors are going to be moving over to the APC. And guess what? Don't even think that is a speculation. That is a reality on ground, because there is nobody Tinubu cannot influence. Tinubu can buy anybody over. So guys, I'm going to allow you to take a look at how Sowore roasted Wike in this video. But before then, take a look at what Professor Utomi has got to tell Nigerians. He wants Nigerians to shut down Abuja, because they believe that if Nigerians don't react, all what we are seeing, the same trajectory is going to continue. Don't forget that people like former Governor Amechi said Nigerians don't react. That because they don't react, the politicians feel comfortable in their criminality. But if Nigerians should start reacting, there is no way politicians will not be thinking twice before embarking on any of their decisions. So guys, I'm going to allow you to take a look at what Professor Utomi has got to say. Then you are going to listen to Sowore roasting Wike on a national television. Honestly, Wike should be hiding in shame by now. Take a look at this video.
Welcome to the Tuesday Tonic. I am Utomi. The Freedom Converge that we're planning to bring 7.2 million Nigerians into Abuja to occupy it until freedom goes back to the Nigerian people is motivated by a troubling, a deep crisis of elite. I mean, there are those who, I think, of it as a Tinubu problem, but it's much more than that, much worse. He may be a stimulant in some ways, but the crisis is deeper and much worse. And if we don't halt it, there will be no future, I can assure you. Now, Pastor Bakare, in enumerating some of the sources of that crisis as a Tinubu problem, has talked about state capture, which I've talked very often about. Has talked about judicial capture, maybe not so much about judicial capture, but the completely useless 10th National Assembly that we have. And he has talked about the push for one-man rule, the domination of society by a strong man. Those are symptoms. There is such a much deeper crisis of elite. If we go back to the 1950s, when elite bargains necessitated a federal structure, you saw young people who were committed to long-term goals for their country work out an arrangement. That's why the federal structure remains the only way that makes sense in Nigeria, a true federal structure. Military rule would destroy that. But as you can see, the civilians have not done enough to reverse that, because they see that as an elite, they can profit from it, from the rent that it gives them. The long-term good of the Nigerian people doesn't seem to quite strike them when they get this opportunity to take care of themselves. And this is really the Nigerian tragedy. And so part of what this whole movement is about, and this is why we don't just march into Abuja, it will take 1 or 2 weeks of educating people where they live about how a country can care for everybody, how a country can be led by the right kinds of people, not be a criminal enterprise, how a country can develop a strategy for national growth that will make us not just be like our peers, but surpass them. Our peers all left us behind. Of course, the story of Nigeria and Indonesia is a classic example, but almost all of our peers left us long ago, far behind, because of a crisis of elite. How do we correct this crisis of elite? That's why we're marching on Abuja. And it's going to be a huge march. I mean, let us just look at the troubles that face us regarding an ineffectual National Assembly. Mr. Bakare did a good job of dealing with that. Let us look at what judicial capture has done to us. Let us look at how a failing media, let's not pretend, Nigerian media has been a terrible failure. They make an effort, some of them, but they're captured easily. Poverty has reached everybody. So those who have the strings pay of journalists in our country can get the kind of robust discussion it got when we were in our teens and early 20s and functioned as reporters in that country. The real problem in Nigeria is that in the elite's struggle to get a piece of the action for their own survival, they forgot the people, the Nigerian people. People without whom justice, the only way they can deal with things is to turn to violence. And violence has made it very difficult to produce. And then worse still, the elite are so obsessed with their self-surviving that economic policy is all about stabilization, and nothing about real growth. You don't grow an economy by the kinds of things we're doing. Those stabilize you, give impressions that things have turned around, but in the end, you're all dressed up with nowhere to go. So it's time to change all of this. Let's continue. We'll talk about this some more next week. And by December, as a country, we'll be ready for change, ready for a new kind of Nigeria. And I assure you, Nigeria will rise up again.
Well, if the emergency rule persisted, that means there has been emergency protests. And emergency protests cannot end emergency rule. Protests have to be very well planned and sustained. There has to be organic too. So maybe the people who are doing the protests should find out a way to do real protests. And the kind of protests that can end the emergency rule.
So how do you think the protests can go to end that emergency rule in Rivers State?
We won't just get involved in the protests for the sake of protesting. It will be because there's a larger goal that it serves in our revolutionary desire to change Nigeria. For instance, our organization cannot fight between two thieves. Wike and Fubara are birds of the same feather. So, based on principle, we can take a position that we are opposed to the emergency rule because it's, of course, unconstitutional, it's illegal, it's illegitimate, and very, very unpopular. But we cannot in any way support either of these guys. That's our problem.
Okay, how will you react to the FCT minister, Wike, when he openly support the suspension of the governor of the Rivers State, Fubara?
Fubara was suspended to please Wike in the first place. So Tinubu has already started planning his selection in 2027. So that Wike is going to be one of the people he will use. Wike is the only politician in Nigeria today that belongs to more than one political party. He's a member of PDP and also a member of the APC. And a member of some other parties that you may not have heard of. So there is a very strategic move on their part to destabilize Rivers, give Wike the opportunity he needs in Rivers to flex his muscle, to empower him at the detriment of the people of Rivers for political expedience. You saw what they did. The first thing they went after was to give the sole administrator the chance to be spending money. I heard they spent already 300 billion naira. You can imagine the person who was elected or selected by the people had not been allowed to even present a budget. The man who was appointed by the president has already had access to a budget and is spending like water. The people of Rivers State have not tasted a drop of pure water since the sole administrator came. So, but our position, as you know, is that these distractions have to end. Nigerians have to unite and end this rubbish. This is what we have told Nigerians. The Tinubu regime came to bury Nigeria after Buhari killed it. And people are still playing along with them. I don't know what is wrong with Nigerians. We are not playing. That's why we are not engaging in all this side hanky-panky about protests. When we are ready and when Nigerians are ready, we are interested in a revolution. We have made that very clear. Because that's what can end this nonsense in our body politic.
Is there any hope for the opposition in 2027?
Not the kind of opposition where people like El Rufai, no, those ones are not opposition. Those ones are coalitions of hungry people. So, and when the time comes, the moment they are offered what they want, they will go back to where they came from. Yeah, so that's why you don't say, because the APC was a coalition. Did you forget? And that's still where they put us. And the people who are asking to form another coalition are former APC members. In fact, most of them are Buhari cabinet members who are supposed to be in prison. They are forming coalitions. Instead of, they should be in prison forming a union of prisoners. So what do you expect from that?
So,
yes.
The insecurity is really is of the head again.
Yes.
You know, we're having killings of parts of the country. But what solution would you prefer, or you prefer rather, to the federal government?
I'm not in the business of advising any of these regimes. They have failed, and we have told the Nigerian people, you advise them, they don't listen to advice. They are not here to take your advice. They came here to take care of business, their own personal and private business.
What would you do if you are in their position?
If I was in their position at this time, there will not be Boko Haram anymore. There won't be bandits, because you have to solve the problem by attacking the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem of insecurity is first and foremost economic inequality. That's the first reason why there are plenty of hands to be used as the workshop of the devil. And then the second aspect of it is to get our security agencies to do what security agencies do, not to be aiding and abetting criminality. You cannot have an IG, and I know you guys love to talk about the IG, Inspector General of Police, who is tired and have retired. You keep him in office, and you expect insecurity to end. It will not end. You have all these military generals who don't go to war. And it's only in Nigeria that somebody who has never fought a war before will become a general in the army. Based on the number of traditional rulers he knows or the GO of his church, that's how they become generals in Nigeria, not because they go to war. If you see an Israeli general, it's because he has fought a war before. If you see an American general, he has been to Afghanistan, he has fought in Iraq, even though those wars might be wrong. But they have gone to war. But in Nigeria, you call these businessmen generals, they are all building estates in Abuja. They don't go to the war front. They don't know what's going on there. They are the ones who are happy that the insecurities are coming. So that is why you see this happening. You ask army to be doing traffic work on the streets. The police is not doing anything. The solution we are preferring is for the Nigerian people, first and foremost, to choose the real leaders who should govern them. Because the legitimacy of the government is also very important. For instance, it is the Nigerian government that goes to the southeast to go and militarize it. It's the Nigerian government that refused to release nnamdi Kanu, something that would have solved a big problem. And then instead of releasing him, you go and put army in the east. Every kilometer in the east, there are army checkpoints. But after 100 kilometers in the north, you can't find the army. There was a man in Katsina who said there are only 5 guns in the local government in Katsina state. But why is it not the same in the southeast? So these things are deliberate. That's what I'm telling you. These are deliberate efforts on their part to undermine Nigeria. And I've said it very clearly. Those who are in power love the fact that they want to manage little territory, because that way they are not responsible for the territories. So they allow these issues to fester. But you cannot solve the problem without addressing the fundamental problem of leadership. Leadership is key in every sector. And most importantly, legitimate leadership is important. When you don't vote for people and they lord themselves over you, you don't respect them.
Yeah, yes,
Mr.
Sowore, the president has been outside the country for the past 2 weeks. Are you pushing to quiet? Are you comfortable with this situation?
I am not one of the people that is quiet. You can direct that question to people who went to Bekubana's party. No, I am not quiet. I still did a protest in front of the police headquarters last Monday. Some of you were there. I'm not quiet. You can accuse some other people in the party here who are ordering amala. I'm not quiet. No, you cannot be quiet. And I can never be quiet.
What situation is he having to countries that are present?
What we have told you is that you have not started listening to us yet. the president being outside the country is a small problem. You understand? The president never told you he will be in the country because he never campaigned to be president of Nigeria. It was INEC that imposed him on you. You understand? We told you when he was coming to office that the man is sick. Nobody listened to us. They even sang a song, Baba is sick and he's falling apart. Nobody listened to us. We told you that he's coming to govern Nigeria with his family. You didn't listen to us. Now that he's in power, we are calling him president. And now that he doesn't govern from Abuja, he's governing on WhatsApp. You are worried about it. Start listening to what we tell you so that when the problem comes, you not keep asking us the same question over and over again.
Okay, Mr. Sowore,
yes.
I want you to call a spade a spade.
Yes.
Before Tinubu, there was Buhari.
Yes.
Regarding insecurity, he promised that the issue will be solved. Tinubu came the same thing, but the problem persists. How are we sure you will be different?
I am different because I have prepared myself for over 35 years. 35 years that I have been fighting against insecurity, corruption. I'm one of the few people that have fought for democracy in this country. And I have told you before that the people who claim to be governing Nigeria now never fought for democracy. I was the one who told you that Tinubu was selling drugs. In Chicago in 1993, when we were fighting for democracy with Abiola here in Nigeria, they were in bed with Abacha, but pretending that they were fighting for democracy under Nadeko. I have said this, I've granted this interview in several places. How do you know who is different? It's the person who has been consistent. It's a person with character. It's a person you can trust, who you can close your eyes and go to bed and you know that the person will not betray you. You understand? Are you getting my point? You know, I used to make a joke with a friend of mine. In the last election, there are two of us whose name existed in the Bible. One of them was Peter, my name is Stephen. One betrayed Jesus 3 times. The other one was stoned by charlatans. The charlatans in this country keep stoning their saviors. That's the problem. That's true. That's the biggest problem. So we have prepared ourselves to get the country out of the woods. But as long as you give charlatans the opportunity to run your country, then you keep asking the same question all over and over and over again. Are you getting my point? Yes. Thank you.
So guys, you have seen it for yourself. So all what we are saying is this: Nigerians have got to react. Don't sit down. It's even good that people like Sowore, they are pushing for protest, because guess what? This government is not ready to listen to anybody. Have you heard that Tinubu plans to install solar in Sowore? That means there is no plan for electricity for Nigerians, and they keep tasking Nigerians, taxing businesses will pay taxes and all that, and they can't give you electricity. We are not even talking about good roads in Nigeria. Just give people electricity so that people can work online and offline. Many businesses are closing, shutting down in Nigeria because of lack of electricity. And now the Tinubu's government went to install solar in Sowore. Do you even know how much that solar is going to cost? It's going to be costing Nigeria 10 billion naira. And somebody is saying, just for solar. You can imagine solar that may not even cost them up to 10 million naira. They've given 10 billion in installing solar in Sowore. So there is no plan for Nigeria to start getting electricity, generate electricity like they will always promise. And Tinubu told us that if he doesn't give us electricity in Nigeria, we shouldn't vote for him. So guys, I don't know what you make of this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Please give this video a like so that YouTube can recommend it to others, and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.